So you bought all of the cozy stuff, right? The pillows, the blankets, the candles, the fairy lights, but your space still doesn't feel cozy? The key to a cozy space is not about stuff. It's about understanding what makes a space cozy and utilizing that knowledge to transform your space. So that's what I want to talk about today, the psychology behind coziness, why your brain associates some rooms with coziness and some with wanting to get the hell out of there. If you're new here, my name is Matt. Grab yourself something cozy, get comfortable, and without further ado, let's get started. Now, first things first, we need to talk about what is cozy. To me, cozy is a feeling. It's a warm embrace. There are a million videos out there that tell you how to make a space cozy. They tell you exactly what to buy. I am more interested in the why. And spoiler alert, you actually don't need to buy anything in order to make your space feel cozy. Let's jump into the first and one of the most important points, and that is lighting. Lighting changes everything. It can make or break a room. But why is that? And the answer actually lies in our past. Thousands of years ago, humans didn't have the modern technology that we possess. Their only source of light was what Mother Nature gave them. So that cozy, warm light is actually mimicking fire. And to our ancestors, fire meant safety, warmth, and community. Warm lighting mimics fire and warmth, while cool lighting mimics the sky and alertness. That's why offices feel so cold. They want you to be awake to work, but we don't want that feeling in our home. And when using lamps, candles, etc., make sure that they are eye level, that you can actually see that warm glow, aka the fire. When you're being blasted by light from the top, it feels like you are outside being blasted by the skylight. And you don't need to buy fancy lamps. You can use whatever you already have. Maybe just change out the light bulbs to something that's a little bit warmer. If you can, take more advantage of natural light. Think of a evenly lit, bright room. It's visually clear and you can see all of the details, but that's what makes it boring. A bit of a dimmer room with shadows being cast by different objects adds to that feeling of being enveloped in a warm embrace. Pay attention to how your body actually feels under different lighting next time you enter a cafe or a restaurant or a hospital. All of these choices aren't accidental. They're made on purpose by designers to make us feel a certain way when we enter their spaces. It is what allows us to see and ultimately feel the space that we are in. The second thing that we're going to be talking about is softness. Rugs, pillows, blankets, textiles. Obviously, all of those add softness to your space. But there is a different kind of softness that I want to talk about today, and that is softness within design. And in the world of design, sharp angular shapes like squares or triangles mean danger, harsh. But on the opposite spectrum of that, we have curved objects, circles, cylinders. They give off a feeling of friendliness, cuddliness, warmth. And the same thing can be applied to our spaces. If you have a lot of rectangular objects, a lot of boxes in your space, it's gonna feel harsh. And adding just a couple of curves here and there can really break up that harshness. Having a balance is what creates a good feeling space. And you don't even have to necessarily get brand new furniture. You can achieve this soft, round look even by just rearranging your furniture. For example, if you have a couch and an armchair, don't put the armchair exactly perpendicular to the couch. Angle it at a 45-degree rotation. That will not only open up that whole seating area, it will feel more inviting, but it will also create a softer transition between the couch and the armchair versus that 90-degree angle that would just create another harsh edge. And I'm sure you have a blanket or two laying around in your closet, so pull it out and just throw it on top of that armchair. It will add so much interest, so much layering to your space. Which perfectly segues into our next section, which is gonna be layering and making a space feel interesting. Now, hot take over here on my channel, I am not a fan of minimalism. And I used to think that the pinnacle of having like a calm, put together life is minimalism. But what I realized is that that kind of space makes me horribly depressed. For us anxious girlies, we need clutter. We need objects. And this is where layering comes in. One of my favorite tricks to do this is by grouping objects into threes. So instead of having just 3 separate objects on a coffee table, for example, group them, put them close together. Maybe put that plant on top of the book, and then those 2 objects become one. And then you put a little candle next to it, that's your 3rd object, and then all of those 3 objects together create a vignette. They create something visually pleasing that has some layers, but that doesn't feel like clutter. It doesn't feel like you just threw some stuff on top of your table. Clutter can be overwhelming. Having lots of little knickknacks and things does make a space feel better and cozier. But if you look at a shelf and all you can think about is how you are stressed out because you need to clean that shelf, you're doing it wrong. Simplify and group your objects. And the same thing can be applied for furniture. That's why one of the biggest tips in the interior design world is when using a carpet in a living room, make sure that at least the 2 front legs of your couch actually go over the carpet, because by overlapping them, that's how you make the 2 objects into 1 object. And it brings cohesion and peace to your space. And also, when layering, think about size. Try to vary the size of your objects. Small, medium, big. That's the golden rule. You want an object that's small, you want an object that's medium, and you want an object that's big. And the same can be applied for height as well. And size isn't only important for knickknacks, which perfectly brings me into our 4th point, which is gonna be small spaces feel cozy. Why? It's hard to make a big space cozy. I have this huge attic space. It is ridiculously hard to fill all of that space and actually make it cozy. I'm still not 100% happy with how this space looks. I would say I'm like 80% there, but there are still areas that I look at every day and I'm just like, why are you so ugly, girl? And the trick to making a larger space cozier is by creating zones. So in my studio, I have my little work zone, I have my little chill TV zone, and I have my plant shelf zone. And those are 3 distinct zones. Going back to our old little ancestor brains, cozy small spaces signal your brain, oh, we're in a cave, we're safe. We're safe from the weather, we're safe from danger, and if there is like a cozy lamp, we have a fire, we're warm, we're cozy, everything's Gucci. And we all love those like reading nooks or little corners, and that is because those spaces are pretty tight and contained. But you don't need to have like just a room for reading, for example. By just creating a little zone, having a little rug, a little armchair, some books, maybe some plants in a little corner is gonna give you that cozy book nook vibe. Oh, and don't forget the lamp. Never forget the lamps. We don't need lots of space to feel comfortable. We need enclosure. We need to feel protected, and we need to feel like ourselves in our spaces. Which brings me to my last talking point, which is the most important one, the one that is so often overlooked, and that is that your space needs to feel like you. You need to feel like you can be yourself in your space. Following trends and aesthetics is fun, but I seriously encourage you to not just follow one trend, not just follow one person's advice. Take a little bit from everybody, and that will make your own space truly yours, and it will enhance any sort of design, because design is nothing without the human, without the person behind it. You want to enter a room and be greeted by your own presence, not somebody else's. The things that make you you, your hobbies, your interests, those are what make your space truly feel cozy. So those are all of the things that I noticed when it comes to the psychology behind why a certain space gives you that cozy, warm vibe. It's that warm lighting that signals our brain that we are safe. It's the softness that makes the harshness of the world feel more bearable. The layering that adds visual interest to our spaces. The size that makes us feel safe and protected, and ultimately you. You who live in your space, and you who deserve to feel happy in your own home. This is not a formula. This is not about what to buy or what to change. You don't need to apply all of these things. Use what works for you, ignore what doesn't. And if you still don't know what your taste even is, that's fine. It is a journey after all, and it will change. You don't have to have it all figured out, but learning what makes you feel good versus what makes you anxious and applying that to your own space will make your spaces feel better. Be curious. Your space will tell you what it needs. Your body will tell you what it wants. I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments down below, what is cozy to you? What makes a space feel special to you? I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye!